All right, guys, in today's video, we have more PlayStation news to go over and discuss, starting with another sales record that was apparently smashed by the PlayStation 5 that was previously held by Nintendo. We're also talking a little bit about God of War Ragnarok and how the head of Sony's worldwide studios cannot wait for us to see it. We're also talking about the Dualsense controller, as we have a patent that was filed for what seems to be a back button attachment. And finally, we have some not so great news about the DualSense, as a class action lawsuit may be filed against Sony thanks to stick drift that some PlayStation 5 owners are experiencing, unfortunately. So before we get into it, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button to help the video out and show your support, I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you leave a comment down below on everything we discuss in this video as well. But starting here with the sales record that was smashed by Sony, the NPD Group has revealed that the PS5 has managed to smash a dollar sales record previously held by the Nintendo Wii back in 2009 during January 2021. This is despite the fact that Sony's new home console has been increasingly difficult to get a hold of since its November 2020 rollout. According to NPD data, the Nintendo Switch was at the top of the pile in terms of overall units sold, but the PS5 pulled in more revenue in January 2021 than any other console since the Wii back in the PS3 era. Overall, the video games industry had a pretty solid month, with total spending up 42% year-on-year, hitting $4.2 billion in total. Unsurprisingly, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War was the best-selling game that month, while Assassin's Creed Valhalla now ranks as the second fastest-selling game in the series. Cyberpunk 2077 had a pretty rough month, however, dropping to 18th place from being in second place in December of 2020. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, meanwhile, flew the Sony exclusive flag at number 3. So this is some pretty interesting data. What you need to know about this basically is that the PlayStation 5, even though it is hard to come by right now, it's still raking in a lot of money for Sony. And that is good in general, because it means that the console's off to a very successful start and it's proving to be very lucrative for Sony. And that's good because it means it's going to continue to get a ton of support. I think this is obvious. We all knew this, but it apparently broke another record that the Wii was holding since 2009. So there you go. Obviously, the Switch is continuing to come out on top in terms of unit sales. That's going to continue to happen until the market is saturated with PlayStation 5s, and we don't know when that's going to be. Probably not till late this year, maybe not even until 2022. We already talked about that. And when it comes to games, it's nice to see Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales still hanging in there at the number 3 spot. It's proving to have some serious legs here, and it's doing really well for Sony. So good news there. But we're going to talk about God of War Ragnarok. Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios boss Herman Hulst has chosen God of War Ragnarok as his most anticipated game. Sony Santa Monica Studios' sequel was announced via a brief teaser last September for release on PS5 in 2021, although nothing more has been heard of the project since. Herman Hulst singled out the game in a PlayStation blog post in which various industry figures revealed which upcoming PlayStation titles they are most excited about. Playing God of War in 2018 was a great experience for me, said Hulst, who was formerly managing director of Horizon Zero Dawn Studio Guerrilla Games. That series has always had amazing action and combat, but the emotional depth Santa Monica brought to Kratos' story as a father was very memorable, especially since my son was only a little bit older than Atreus when I played it. So to see and hear the reaction to that tiny glimpse we unveiled at the PlayStation Showcase last September was very exciting. I can't wait for people to see what Santa Monica is making. Now, I know that that's not anything too revealing, but still, I thought it was worth sharing. We're not really getting a lot of news regarding anything these days because things have just slowed down that much, but I think this maybe, and I could be reading into it too much, this maybe does give us a little bit more confidence that the game is going to be shown sometime soon this year. Maybe not release in 2021. It's hard to say. I think at this point, whether or not God of War Ragnarok releases in 2021 is more to do with whether or not Sony's going to have enough PS5s to sell alongside it, because they're going to use God of War Ragnarok as a big console seller, obviously. If they don't have enough consoles to sell, well, they might hold off on releasing it. But when it comes to actually seeing more of the game, I mean, he can't wait for us to see it. I can't wait to see it. So come on, Herman Holst, you know, you're in charge of this. Let's get a move on here. Let's release a new trailer for it. Let's do something. Either way, I think it sounds very exciting. I just wanted to let you guys know about that. But I want to tell you guys about a new patent that was recently filed by Sony that seems to indicate they are planning a DualSense back button attachment. For those who may have forgotten, this is an attachment that Sony released kind of randomly towards the end of the PS5's life cycle for the DualShock 4, and a lot of people really liked it. It was a quality attachment, a quality accessory. It led many to believe that the DualSense was going to have back buttons built into it, which we now know is not the case. But it just makes a lot of sense that Sony would want to do this. I'm not going to read the patent as it's unnecessarily technical, but what you need to know is that that is what it's indicating. It doesn't specifically mention the DualSense, but would it really make sense for them to be filing a patent for another back button attachment for the DualShock 4, something that's not their primary controller anymore? No, it doesn't make any sense. It's obviously for the DualSense, so we're going to have to wait to see like if this is something that Sony does bring to the PS5 controller. I think they will, so let me know in the comments below if that's an attachment you would buy for your DualSense if it does in fact end up getting announced. Now we're going to end this video on a somewhat of a negative note here, but it has to be talked about, and that is this class action lawsuit that is apparently being filed against Sony for stick drift. Now, first of all, anybody listening to this who does own a DualSense controller, let me know in the comments if you have experienced stick drift with your DualSense. I've been using multiple DualSense controllers. I've put hundreds of hours into my PS5. I have yet to experience any type of stick drift personally, but I have heard from some people that it is apparently a problem. So the law firm, which brought the first class action lawsuit against Nintendo over Switch Joy-Con drift, says it's examining whether there are grounds for a similar case concerning PlayStation 5's DualSense controller. The firm is asking PS5 owners who have experienced DualSense drift issues to contact its attorneys by completing a form detailing their experiences. Respondents are asked to describe the problems they encountered, how long they had owned their PS5 once the issue started occurring, whether they have contacted Sony about their experience, and if so, what response the company has provided. And so, yeah, this is apparently something that is happening. Goes on to say some PS5 players began reporting DualSense drift problems less than 10 days after receiving the console, which launched in mid-November 2020 in the US. A number of affected users have posted, well, not just in the US, but in multiple regions. A number of affected users have posted videos online documenting the problem, which causes analog sticks to register movement even when untouched. A Kotaku reporter who contacted PlayStation customer service about the issue was told that DualSense drift is covered under the console's warranty, but that they would have to pay to ship the controller to Sony and their repair center. So, yeah, this is something that is kind of serious, and we're going to have to follow it to see what comes of it. It's hard to say if it's really going to be something that impacts Sony in a big way. Again, I have multiple DualSense controllers. I've put hundreds of hours into them, maybe not each one, but I've been using them a lot, and I haven't had any issues like this. I'm sure there are people who are having issues like this, and I guess we'll find out just how widespread it actually is if they do actually go through with this, and it's a big thing that they take Sony to court over. So yeah, if you are somebody who has been experiencing stick drift, you might want to be paying attention to this, and let me know down below if you have been experiencing it. I think it's pretty disappointing. I mean, I could definitely understand why you would be frustrated if within 10 days of having your PS5 and the DualSense, you start experiencing stick drift. Stick drift is not something that anybody wants to deal with. It can be fixed, but it's usually not that easy to fix, and it can really get in the way of your gaming experience. For those who don't know what stick drift is, it's basically where your controller can be completely untouched, and yet your stick is basically still registering movement. And you can obviously see why that would be a big problem. So yeah, not really good there, but we'll see what comes of it. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Be sure, as I said, to leave your thoughts down below on everything we discussed here. What do you think about Sony breaking this record with the PS5? What do you think about Herman Hulst talking about God of War Ragnarok being his most anticipated game, saying he can't wait for us to see it? What do you think about the DualSense back button attachment potentially being a thing? And what do you think about this class action lawsuit? We'll be very interested to see what you had to say. Leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.